Imagine you're scrolling through your social media feed right now. You see a headline that perfectly confirms what you already believe about the world. Without clicking, without reading, without questioning, you share it. Within minutes, dozens of people in your network have done the same. Now imagine this happening millions of times, every day, across every platform, on every topic. We're not just sharing information anymore. We're participating in the largest scale abandonment of critical thinking in human history. But here's the uncomfortable truth I want you to wrestle with today. We're not just becoming less intelligent individually. We're becoming collectively stupid. And the scariest part? Most of us don't even realize it's happening. If this video changes how you see the world, and I believe it will, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because what we're about to explore together requires all of us to wake up from a very comfortable dream. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you genuinely changed your mind about something important? Not a small preference, but a real belief that shaped how you see the world? Think about that for a moment. For many of us, it's been years. We live in an age where information is infinite, yet wisdom seems to be vanishing. Where we have access to the greatest minds in history through our devices, yet we increasingly think in slogans and sound bites. Where we can fact-check anything in seconds, yet misinformation spreads faster than truth. This isn't an accident. This is a crisis of critical thinking so profound that it's reshaping the very fabric of how we understand reality. Recent research focusing on millennial and Gen Z workers found that many people are struggling with deep, reflective thinking. But this isn't just about younger generations. It's affecting everyone. UCLA research shows that as technology has played a bigger role in our lives, our skills in critical thinking and analysis have declined. Think about what this means. The very tools we thought would make us smarter are making us intellectually weaker. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. A 2025 study found that increased reliance on AI tools is directly linked to diminished critical thinking abilities. We're not just losing our ability to think, we're actively outsourcing it. Individual ignorance has always existed. But what we're witnessing now is something far more dangerous: collective stupidity. This is when groups of intelligent people, connected by technology, somehow produce dumber outcomes than any individual member could achieve alone. Social media platforms are creating echo chambers where people only follow accounts that confirm their existing beliefs. And research shows that on social media, fake news travels faster than true facts. We're not just failing to think critically as individuals. We're creating systems that actively punish critical thinking and reward intellectual conformity. The symptoms are all around us. Look around you. Notice how political discourse has devolved into tribal warfare, where changing your mind is seen as weakness, not wisdom. Observe how expertise is dismissed if it challenges what we want to believe. Watch how complex problems are reduced to viral memes and oversimplified solutions. We see confident proclamations about vaccines from people who've never studied immunology. Economic theories from those who've never read an economics textbook. Historical judgments from people who get their history from TikTok videos. The Dunning-Kruger effect, where those who know the least are the most confident, isn't just a psychological curiosity anymore. It's become the dominant mode of public discourse, where individuals with limited knowledge systematically overestimate their abilities. But here's what we need to ask ourselves. How did we get here? How did a species that walked on the moon and decoded its own DNA become collectively stupider in an age of unprecedented access to information? The answer isn't what you think, and understanding it is the first step toward reclaiming our intellectual independence. Stay with me, because what we're about to uncover will fundamentally change how you see the information landscape around you. The death of critical thinking isn't the result of one cause. It's the perfect storm of multiple forces working together to create what I call the stupidity spiral. Root cause number one, the entertainment imperative. Neil Postman warned us about this in 1985 with his prophetic book, Amusing Ourselves to Death. Postman argued that television caused Americans to understand all public discourse through the lens of entertainment. But he couldn't have imagined how much worse it would get. Today, everything must be entertaining to capture attention. Complex ideas are reduced to memes. Nuanced positions become viral catchphrases. The medium has become the message, and the message is think less, feel more. When was the last time you saw a 15-minute thoughtful analysis go viral compared to a 15-second hot take? The algorithms don't reward depth, they reward engagement. And engagement comes from emotion, not contemplation. Root cause number 2, the cognitive offloading crisis. Here's an uncomfortable reality. Our brains are incredibly lazy. They're designed to conserve energy by taking shortcuts. And we've just given them the ultimate shortcut, artificial intelligence and search engines that can answer any question instantly. But here's the paradox. The more we outsource our thinking, the less capable we become of thinking. Recent research confirms that cognitive offloading to AI is a primary driver of declining critical thinking abilities. We're creating a generation that can Google any fact, but can't evaluate whether that fact is meaningful, relevant, or true. We're building thinking muscles by never using them. Root cause number 3, the dopamine-driven information diet. Social media has turned information consumption into an addiction. Every scroll, every like, every share triggers a small hit of dopamine. But critical thinking requires the opposite: sustained attention, tolerance for uncertainty, and delayed gratification. We've trained our brains to crave instant answers and immediate validation. The patient work of thinking, questioning assumptions, weighing evidence, considering alternatives, feels boring by comparison. When was the last time you sat with a difficult question for hours or days without immediately searching for someone else's answer? Root cause number 4, the illusion of knowledge. Psychology professor Stephen Sloman identified what he calls the knowledge illusion, our tendency to mistake information we can access for information we actually understand. Google something right now. Anything. Notice how quickly you feel like you know about that topic. But do you really understand it? Or do you just have access to information about it? We've confused having information at our fingertips with having knowledge in our minds. And we've confused having knowledge with having wisdom. Root cause number 5, the weaponization of uncertainty. Critical thinking requires comfort with uncertainty, with saying, I don't know, and sitting with complex questions that don't have simple answers. But our culture has weaponized uncertainty. Politicians have learned that admitting ignorance or changing positions based on new evidence is seen as weakness. So instead, we get confident assertions about everything, even from people who clearly don't understand what they're talking about. We've created a culture where being wrong confidently is rewarded more than being uncertain thoughtfully. But here's the deeper truth. This isn't happening by accident. There are powerful forces that benefit from our collective stupidity. The attention economy profits from keeping us reactive rather than reflective. Platforms make more money from our outrage than our insight. Political systems function more smoothly when citizens accept simple narratives rather than demanding complex solutions. Consumer culture thrives when we make emotional decisions rather than rational evaluations. Educational institutions find it easier to teach compliance than critical thinking. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed. The problem is that it's designed to produce consumers and voters, not thinkers. This isn't the first time humanity has faced this challenge. Socrates worried about the written word making people's memories weak. The printing press was feared for spreading dangerous ideas. Every information revolution creates its own cognitive challenges. But what's different now is the speed and scale. Previous generations had time to adapt. We're being asked to evolve our thinking faster than our brains can keep up. Hannah Arendt warned about the banality of evil, how ordinary people can participate in terrible things simply by not thinking. What we're witnessing now is the banality of stupidity, how intelligent people can collectively produce unintelligent outcomes simply by not thinking critically. Here's why this is so alarming. Collective stupidity feels smart from the inside. When everyone in your information bubble agrees with you, it feels like wisdom. When complex problems have simple answers that align with your worldview, it feels like clarity. The Dunning-Kruger effect has gone viral. Echo chambers and social media algorithms amplify this effect by exposing us only to information that confirms our existing beliefs. We're not just failing to think critically, we're being systematically trained not to think critically. And the scariest part? We're doing it voluntarily. But recognizing this pattern is the first step toward breaking free from it. Right now, as you're listening to this, you have a choice. You can dismiss what I'm saying because it challenges your comfortable assumptions about your own intelligence. Or you can lean into the discomfort and ask, what if this is true? What if I've been participating in this without realizing it? The choice you make in this moment will determine whether you remain part of the problem or become part of the solution. Here's the good news. Critical thinking isn't dead, it's dormant. And like any muscle, it can be strengthened with practice. First, embrace productive discomfort. Start seeking out information that challenges your beliefs. Follow people who make you think, not just people who make you feel validated. If your information diet only confirms what you already believe, you're not learning, you're indoctrinating yourself. Second, practice intellectual humility. Begin conversations with "I could be wrong, but" change your mind publicly when presented with better evidence. Celebrate uncertainty as the beginning of wisdom, not the end of knowledge. Third, question your questions. Before accepting any answer, examine the question that produced it. Who benefits from framing the problem this way? What assumptions are built into the question itself? Most manipulation happens at the level of which questions we're encouraged to ask. Fourth, develop information hygiene. Treat your mind like your body. Be conscious of what you consume. Limit reactive content. Increase reflective content. Choose fewer, higher quality sources over more, faster updates. Fifth, practice the lost art of sustained attention. Set aside time for deep thinking without external input. Read books. Take long walks without podcasts. Let your mind wrestle with complex ideas without immediately seeking resolution. Every time you pause before sharing, you're fighting collective stupidity. Every time you say, "I need to think about that," you're modeling intellectual courage. Every time you change your mind based on evidence, you're making critical thinking contagious. This isn't just about personal growth, it's about social responsibility. In a democracy, critical thinking isn't a luxury, it's a civic duty. We stand at a crossroads. Down one path lies comfortable conformity, algorithmic thinking, and collective stupidity. Down the other lies intellectual independence, uncomfortable questions, and the hard work of genuine thinking. The future belongs to those who can think for themselves in an age of artificial intelligence. The future belongs to those who can question assumptions in an age of manufactured consensus. The future belongs to those who can think critically in an age of collective stupidity. I challenge you to do something radical this week. Question one belief you hold with absolute certainty. Not to become uncertain about everything, but to practice the skill of intellectual flexibility. Share this video with someone who you know thinks differently than you do. Not to convert them, but to start a conversation about how we can all think better together. And remember, in a world increasingly dominated by artificial intelligence, the most valuable human skill isn't knowing the right answers. It's asking the right questions. The quiet revolution starts with you. The choice is yours. What questions will you ask today? Like this video if it made you think differently about how you think. Subscribe if you want to be part of a community that dares to question everything, even itself. And comment below with one belief you're willing to examine more critically. Because the world doesn't need more people who think they know everything. It needs more people brave enough to admit they might be wrong.